Welcome to the Ascend Your Success podcast. Whether you're just starting out or are a veteran looking to grow your business, you're in the right place. Join us to learn how to achieve financial freedom while working and living life on your own terms. Hear valuable insights, strategies, and interviews with successful entrepreneurs. Get ready to achieve the success you've always dreamed of. Ready? Let's go.
What's going on, guys? My name is Wyatt Reed, and this is the Ascend Your Success podcast. And today, I get to interview my friend, one of my students, one of my deal partners, Ryan Mimbs. Man, thanks so much for being on.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you letting me come on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So tell us, before we get started, because this is going to be a special episode where we do a case study on this huge deal that you just finished up. It was like a $110,000 assignment. It was actually bigger than that, but you split it with your partners. Before we get into that though, let's introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, how old you are, because that's crazy too, right? So tell us a little bit about you first.
So, like Wyatt said, my name's Ryan Mimbs. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Georgia, but I do a little bit of investing in Alabama. And back in Georgia, I do it where I went to school at Georgia Southern Estates Pro. I found Wyatt, if you want me to go ahead and get into that.
Yeah, absolutely, okay. For sure.
Yeah, I found Wyatt actually on TikTok, which I know is kind of crazy, but I was praying to kind of find somebody to lead me into, real estate, and I knew I wanted to get in real estate. And some mentors and other people I talked to, they were, just flashy people, and they just weren't, really people I wanted to get behind. But I come across Wyatt and his team and, hopped on the call, and pretty much the rest is history. I joined almost immediately and been going since then.
I don't know about almost immediately. So right there, I do a lot. I do a lot of discovery calls, so I don't remember all of them, but I do remember Ryan telling me he was going to look at a couple of different coaches and get back with me. And I was like, go for it, man. You got this.
We hopped on one call. One call was all it was.
Yeah.
And then the next call we had, I said, I think I'm going to do it. So.
Well, I'm glad you did, and I'm sure you're glad you did. Because this has been, how long have you been doing this? When did you join?
So this week is actually 1 year.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Holy cow.
But I really didn't jump into it till like February of this year.
Yeah.
I was still kind of messing around with school a little bit, kind of learning, from the modules and stuff that you put out, and just kind of get my feet wet and everything else. And I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. So after a few months of just being in the group, listening to people talk, I finally started to take, true action about mid-February of 2024.
That's crazy, man. So, yeah, I do remember that. You kind of went through this phase of you had something else going on with your job, and you were out of town a lot. And so, yeah, you didn't get into like early this year. And so, really, I mean, that's only been, what, seven months truly, like, diving into this. So that's amazing, man. You said you just got out of college, right? So how old are you? 21. That's crazy. My youngest student, I had a girl start when she was 19, and she's also one of my more successful students. I love, and I know I tell you this all the time, but I love working with younger folks because, man, the drive is just there, and you guys do everything that I say, and you just go out and kill it, and it's awesome working with you. I don't ever have to like beg y'all to do anything. You just take action, right. And it's awesome, man. So I love working with like young hustlers. So let's get into this deal real quick. So you just done a huge wholesale deal. Tell us kind of how you got started. You done it with a partner of yours that you met in Georgia, and tell us a little bit about that situation.
So the deal actually wasn't mine. It didn't come from any of my personal marketing. What it did come from essentially was networking. I'm a broke college student. I'm trying to, find people that's willing to help me out. And I come across a bandit sign, and I'm sure most people know what that is, but for those that don't, it's just, little advertisement signs that people stick, in the ditches or at red light stop signs, etc., saying, we buy houses, houses for cash, blah, blah, blah. And I saw one while I was driving through town, I was like, I'll call him up. So I called the number. He answered. I kind of told him who I was, and I was trying to get into it, and I was willing to do anything that he needed me to do to kind of show that I was wanting to do it. And he kind of cut me short and just like, hey, a lot of people try to do this. Talk is cheap. Go in, find you a deal. If you think it's a deal, then bring it back to me. That'll let me know that you're actually trying. So that's what I did. I sent him a couple. They weren't really deals, but you can see I was trying, so we kind of kept in the mix. And then one day he texted me and was like, hey, I have this lead. It's a potential, home run deal. If you think you can close it, I'm willing to split it 50-50. So that's kind of how it was brought to me, and I took it from there.
Yeah, I think it's very important to understand, like, for you guys that are listening, how easy it is to talk to Ryan. Like, he's just a super, super down to earth guy. Like, he doesn't, BS or play around. So, like, he tells it like it is. And he's just a good guy. Like, we've done several deals together already. And one thing that has been consistent that I've seen that I don't normally see is people who are not quite ready to sell, like right then and there. They have told us several times that, hey, you have my word that you guys are going to be the first ones to do, because the conversations that you've had with these people. Like, you create good rapport with those people, and you're just like a down to earth, like, good old boy from North Alabama, right? Or southern, or
South Georgia.
Right? South Georgia. So that's, it's really good, like, to, like, when you're on these sales calls, you don't need to be a robot. You don't need to be just reading down a list of like a script or something like that, right? You do need to have a script. You do need to know the questions that you need to know on that first call, right? But you need to have conversation with people, like build rapport with people. And I think that's what you did with this lady, right? So what did
Yeah.
he passed it off to you, and you called the lady? How did this go? Like, this wasn't just a single family home; it was a portfolio. So tell us a little bit about
Right.
that.
Yeah, so he called me and said, hey, I have this deal. I've tried talking to her. I can't really get through to her. She's from that area. And he was like, try to hit her with some southern accent and charm, because he doesn't have that. He's from up north in New Jersey. So he was kind of thinking maybe that was pushing her away if she thought he was scamming her, the typical cold call scenario. So I hopped on the phone with her and just told her that, I saw where she may be interested in selling, and we talked and talked and talked for, I think that first phone call, man, it was probably an hour and a half of just straight talking of how she has these properties and how her father originally built them in the 50s, and just the whole story of it. She told me that, she was wanting to sell, but she actually was going through, some other closings, and she had to get that through first before she, can move on with us. I told her, I said, we're on your time here, so I'll keep in touch with you. And I was looking at it a minute ago, and the lead came in March 17th, and we signed on May 8th of the contract. So between that was a phone call about every other day, whether that's her calling me saying, hey, like, so tell me about this, how does this work? Or me calling her, checking in, just the whole 9 yards. So
That's awesome, man.
a
Heck
lot
yeah.
of conversation.
And a lot of people wouldn't. That's where a lot of people fail, is the follow up, the conversations afterwards. A lot of people will just hit a cold calling list, and then if they say, they don't want to sell immediately, they're on to the next, right? Where everybody who's doing it and doing it right and doing it consistently knows that the follow up is where you're going to get the deal. It's not, it 9 times out of 10, it's never going to be the first initial phone call, right? So I think that's where a lot of people go wrong, is they don't have a good follow up system. But that's awesome that she was calling you and you were calling her, and going back and forth, and you were essentially educating her on the whole process, right?
Right.
Did you talk about wholesaling the deal with her, or did you just say, hey, we work with a lot of partners, or how did that conversation go?
Yeah, so I told her, and which is the truth. I told her, we have other partners in this deal that, once everything's settled, she may see, like, per public records, that, some of these houses are, held in different entities and whatnot. And I just told her, I said, with a deal this large, we bring other investors on, so that's just, what it is. But we do plan, to keep it with people we work with, daily. So that's kind of what, she was thinking, and that's what happened eventually.
Yeah, yeah. So up until this point, just for everybody who's brand new, who doesn't know anything about what we're talking about, right? I tell people a lot of times it's really hard to wholesale deals from other people, right? It's not impossible, but usually wholesaling is direct to the seller and you are direct to the buyer. You're the middleman, right? That's what wholesaling is. So you would essentially get the contract from the seller, and then you would assign your rights to that contract to another investor and take the difference, right? Or that assignment fee. So you didn't have to pay for marketing to get this deal. You networked with a guy, he brought it to you. You ended up getting it closed on the seller side. So you got a purchase agreement saying that we're going to buy this entire portfolio for how much?
$500,000.
$500,000.
That was
So
for 13 properties.
yeah, and you don't have $500,000. You don't have that kind of money to buy that thing, right? And
No.
this is what I love about real estate, because you can make money in so many different ways and avenues. So you got this under contract with the thought that I'm going to find somebody else who does have that plus some, and just pitch it over to them and assign that to them, right? So what did that process look like once you got the purchase agreement in place? How do you find a buyer, an end buyer for that big of a deal?
So the guy that I was JVing with, shout out Lennox, he is a finding a buyer guru. I don't really know how he does it, but he seems to have a buyer for any type of property that you come across. And he knew that, and he knew that with me talking with the seller, I could handle the negotiating, and he would handle the behind the scenes and kind of pushing it out and bringing in partners for this deal. So he had actually reached out to a guy that has bought a portfolio off of him before. It wasn't nothing of this size, but he reached out to him. He said, yeah, he would love to come look at it. They came and looked at it, and they wanted it immediately. So.
Wow. What did the due diligence? So when I say due diligence, when you put a house under contract, you have normally, like a single family home, you have 10 to 15 business days, as far as our contract goes, due diligence period, to walk these properties, tell us if you really want it or not, do the negotiations, get contractors in. So what did that due diligence period look like with that big of a portfolio?
We did 30 days. So we had told her that to the seller. We said, hey, we're size this big. Some of our partners may only be able to come see 3 properties a day, or trying to fit in their schedule. I was like, so typically we do 15 business days, but if you can, we need to try to double that, which worked out, thankfully.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, man. So did they walk every single property?
Yeah, they did. They walked every property but 2. That was because it was occupied with tenants, and they weren't home, and it was kind of a big ordeal trying to find a key for it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So they ended up having to come back for those 2 properties, but they walked the first 11, so they saw what they needed to see.
Yeah. So the big question is, how much did you assign that to the end buyer for?
So we shopped it around at first for $800,000. We kind of looked into it, and we thought that once it was appraised and all, it would probably appraise anywhere from $800,000 to $900,000 with no work done. So we, you list it high, and then you come down from there. So we started out at $800,000. We negotiated for about a week, and we ended up bringing in some investors at, I believe the final number was $714,000.
Wow. Wow, that's insane. So you got it under contract for $500,000, and then you sold it for $714,000. That is $214,000 difference. Mm-hmm. That's an assignment fee of $214,000. That's hands down the biggest assignment that I've ever even heard of. And I'm in a lot of high level, high net worth groups, and that's the highest assignment that I've ever heard of. And then obviously you split that with your partner, so you actually ended up getting around $107,000.
Yeah. Yep.
That's insane. That is insane. 21 years old, one of your first like 3 to 5 deals.
Yeah,
It's
so it would have been officially closed on deals. It would have been my fifth.
fifth deal.
Mm-hmm.
A 6-figure deal. That's insane, bro. That is insane.
Yeah, I still go back and look at the wire just to make sure it's still there.
Make sure it's
I
still
took
there.
it out, it woke me
Yeah,
up.
he was calling me like, man, they're saying if I do a check, they'll hold it for like another 5 to 7 days, and I don't want that, so I need it now. Let's do this wire. Does this
Yeah.
wire look right? Because I don't want it to not go through. It was crazy. It was a crazy experience, man, and it was awesome to be able to like get to watch that just kind of from the sidelines and see you go through that, man. That's amazing. So, was there anything that happened during that deal that you learned like from, or anything like that was a struggle, or because it seemed to me, obviously to you it was probably a little different, but to me it seemed like it went very, very smoothly. But I know it's always,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
always
if you look at
different.
it from the surface level, it went smooth. But if you want to dig into it, I could probably give you a book on what I learned and what kind of went wrong. So just to list a couple, they had to have the buyers, when we brought them on, they had to have a drive-by appraisal done, to get the funds and the lending and all that. So that went way behind schedule. That was supposed to be done within a week. It ended up taking a month.
Wow.
So, waiting on that pushed it back. We originally had a closing date, I believe, to be in the 1st of June, almost the end of May, I believe is what it was. And we didn't close on it till I think August 2nd. So that's how much it got pushed back. The seller, they're business owners, they're super busy. So just for them trying to work stuff in, and our buyers, we brought on, they're traveling a lot. They're out of town and in the state a lot, trying to bring them, just really putting it all together and getting everybody on the same page and the same timeline to make everything go smoothly, which it was a learning experience, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you said it took you 2 months. I think this is what you said. It took you 2 months to actually get the deal under contract, right?
Yeah, it was
Going back,
about a month and a half. Yeah.
and then it took you 3 months to get it closed. So
Yeah.
all in all, about 4 months
Mhm.
total working on that one deal. And
Yeah.
I remember you telling me some of your frustrations throughout the whole process, and I was like, well, dude, how many people, or how did you think it was going to be easy to make 6 figures on one deal? It's not as easy as it looks, right? And so, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. Wouldn't everybody be millionaires, right? So, but that's awesome, man. You steadied the storm. You like handled it very, very well. So I'm super proud of you for everything that you've done. And so how does that change? That's a lot of capital, right? And you've done a couple of deals. That was your fifth deal. You've done a couple of deals, a couple of wholesale deals. You've got like what, $6,000 to $10,000 here and there on deals before that, and then you've got what, 3 or 4 deals in the pipeline right now that have already been assigned for 15 to 20. So, are you just going to continue to wholesale, or I know you took down a seller finance deal. Are you wanting to build your portfolio? Like, where's your headspace at right now?
So before this deal, I was really wanting to just build up my business bank account and just try to get some capital. So I had, wiggle room to take on bigger risk and to put more into marketing and, get better software and the whole 9 yards. So up until then, I was really wanting to wholesale, and I enjoy wholesaling. I like to playing that little game of, how well can I negotiate this, and getting all the information and just have a genuine conversation with a motivated seller. So up until now, I've been wanting to wholesale, but I think now I have a little bit of wiggle room as far as capital goes. I think that I want to start kind of directing my focus towards, more cash flow and getting, seller finance deals going and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a game changer for me when we hit that wall and we decided we've got to start buying properties because like we were flipping, we were wholesaling, and we had tons of money coming in, but we had employees, offices, we had marketing like crazy. It was the money was coming in, but I have no clue where it went. It was like sucked down this dark black hole, right? And when we finally hit that wall and decided we can't do this anymore, we've got to work on a portfolio. Once we finally got that right and where it was bringing in a certain amount of cash flow, you couldn't tell us nothing. You can't tell us nothing. Like we ain't gonna do something we don't want to do anymore, right? So once you get that cash flow right, you have that freedom to go bigger if you want to without having to worry about, oh well, this deal isn't going to close then, so how am I going to pay my lights and my bills and stuff like that. Like it's all good, the cash flow is covering it, right? Now I can do other things and not have to worry about stuff like that. But yeah, that's super important, man. So we're coming up on time now, so give these guys, if they have never done real estate, if they're brand new listening, like what's some advice you can give these guys?
I mean, I know that's what a lot of people say, the same thing, but, I love Bot, and especially working with Wyatt, he's kind of also, solidified my mind on this, and that's just take action and stay consistent. The more people that you're getting in front of, the more people you're talking to, I mean, that's the better chances you have at success. Yeah, you may fail more, but you're just upping the rate of success. I mean, without me taking a risk on getting cussed out or the whole shebang as far as cold calling goes, and just me trying to reach out to that guy that eventually brought me the deal, I mean, he didn't have to help me. He didn't have to take a chance on me. But just by picking up the phone call and saying, what do I have to lose? I'm a broke college student. And now that it's led to a 6-figure deal, I mean, you just don't know until you go. And once you go, make sure your mind is directed on that, and just don't stop until, you get to where you want to be. So,
Dude, absolutely.
Take action.
So Ryan, if you're hearing this and you're hearing like the words marketing and what he's doing, if you want to get the exact marketing systems that he's using, it's not anything fancy. Like we don't do anything fancy. He uses postcards, and he has another company that does cold calls and texting for him. So it's two different companies that do two different things. Really, really low budget, low entry fee for those. If you're interested in learning, what those are exactly, I use the same ones. Just reach out to one of the two of us, and we'll be glad to give it to you. Super, super simple. So, Ryan, man, I really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on and sharing with us your success. We need to do this, in the next 6 to 8 months, do a recap and see where you've gone from there, because it's super inspiring, to see a broke college kid. If you can do it, anybody can do it, right? That's what I always say about me. If I can do it, anybody can do it, right? It's absolutely possible. You just got to do exactly what you said, take action, and get it done, right?
And I'll say one more thing. For anybody that is looking to, want to get started in real estate, or looking for someone that's willing to teach them, I can't speak highly enough of Wyatt, because I ain't trying to, butter his biscuits. But
That's a Georgia thing, if you're listening.
I can call this guy probably at 2 a.m. and he's willing to answer the phone. And if he isn't, then he'll give me a call first thing when he does get it on his phone. I mean, he's always willing to help, and he gives advice, that goes, much further than just business. I mean, just with life in general, and, mindset and everything else. So if you're looking for someone that's, that can really, change your life, definitely get in touch with Wyatt, and also the other mentor, Jacob. They're two phenomenal people. So definitely give them a shout.
That means the world to us. Like, you guys don't understand. Anytime we hear anything like that, it just, we know we're doing the right things when we hear stuff like that. And we hear it from people outside of the community talking about our students as well, which is a great segue to say, guys, if you listen to this and you heard something you liked, or you're interested in learning about real estate or how to get started, just go to ascendyoursuccess.com, fill out a couple of questions, and I'll look at all of these personally. I will call you personally, and we will talk. There's, no, you don't have to pay to have a conversation with me. Just fill out that application. Let's schedule a call, and let's see if we're a good fit for you, you're a good fit for us. But regardless, we'll see y'all on the next one.